No one ever knows what goes on behind closed doors. Domestic abuse can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from.
I was not what's seen as a typical victim. I was a managing director at one of the biggest banks in the world, but they never knew I was hiding my bruises and broken bones.
One of my police colleagues said to me when I told him about my situation, "If domestic abuse can happen to the borough commander, it can happen to anyone." It took me a long time to acknowledge that I was in a controlling and abusive marriage.
I lost who I was as a person, and I just felt so alone.
There was always a background hum of low-level violence and aggression from my former wife that I would excuse as banter or stress. My family were horrified by the level of aggression and violence in a relationship, but I normalised it.
I was locked in the flat and punished for small infractions. One day, I couldn't make it into work. When I was finally able to escape the flat, I went straight to the office. I told my boss everything. I thought it would help, because he knew I was really responsible and good at my job. Instead, I was fired.
Some of my colleagues knew my abuser. Though there were times when they noticed that things didn't seem right, they didn't have any education around domestic abuse or any type of framework or policy to consult to work out what might be wrong. And so key warning signs were not recognised.
I wish I could go back and tell employees to spend more time learning what someone goes through in these situations. Supporting a victim does not mean giving them a bit of time off and then expecting them to leave the relationship.
When you're in that situation, your anxiety can be quite high and you feel a bit scrambled. You don't know where to turn. Sometimes it's easier if someone can just signpost you in the right direction.
My mother was in prison for killing my father following years of coerced controlling behaviour. My mother had an employer. What difference would it have made to her story if someone had helped her, my brother, and me?
It may not be happening to you, but if you know what you can do to help somebody else, that's really powerful.
I told my line manager what I was going through at home. She listened to me and arranged a great deal of support. She made sure I had a mobile phone and my work iPad, and she gave me a laptop even after I left the company. Her support and understanding in helping to safety plan made all the difference.
My employer's response was very supportive. I'm always thankful for their constant support. I was offered flexible working times, time off for court and appointments, and change in work location where appropriate. It's time to talk openly about domestic abuse to help end the stigma.
Domestic abuse can impact anyone from any walk of life. It affects individuals, families, and even across generations. The workplace is sometimes the victim survivor's only safe space. Employers can make a vital difference.